Welcome to the Blissful Life, a podcast where we awaken the wisdom of self and explore the lessons, the rituals, and the pathways to inner bliss. I'm your host, Regina Lawless, former corporate executive turned author and spiritual teacher. And I'm on a mission, y'all, to help people connect to and express their divine self so they can make their unique impact on the world. If you've been feeling like there is more to life than the hustle and grind, then you found your tribe. It's time to breathe and relax into the blissful life.
Welcome back to the Blissful Life. I am excited to continue this series I've been doing with the fabulous ladies from the Theater of Public Speaking, or ToPs. I'm joined here by Adrienne Barrett. Welcome to the show, Adrienne.
Thank you, Regina. Hello, everybody. So great to be here today.
Oh, I love it. This has been so fun to talk to each of you and kind of figure out not only your background, but how you got into speaking, which we'll cover. But in terms of what you do in your day job, you are a senior manager of professional services at Intuit. Yes. And as if that wasn't enough, you're also co-leader for the Global Women's Network.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. So as a former DEI professional, I have the utmost respect for anyone who volunteers to help with employee resource groups, let alone lead them. That's a lot. That's a lot on your plate.
It is. It is. And in our women's network, we affectionately say that we have our day jobs and our yay job.
I love
and our
it.
yay job, of course, is being, whether it's a local leader or a global leader for the women's network. And super blessed at Intuit to have 14 different ERGs. And our women's network is our oldest and our most truly global. We have a group at every site. And that is so important to me, is having a space for women to come together and help each other navigate work, take those steps. Maybe it's you're growing your career, maybe you're unwinding your career, maybe you are balancing work and parenting, maybe you're balancing work and fertility, maybe you are new to Intuit and it's a place that you immediately have a group around you to help you. Nobody has to have that feeling of being the new kid at school and who do I eat lunch with?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great analogy. Because that's what I found over the years. I've been involved in ERGs myself, as well as kind of overseeing our global ERG network at a couple of different companies. And that's it. It's about building connection and even that sense of belonging from the beginning. And I know I've benefited from that. And so I love hearing, despite all the wackiness around DEI, that Intuit is still committed and still has groups like this. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And it's so important. And you can't walk away from your values when times get tough.
Ooh.
And one of our biggest values is making sure that our employees feel that sense of belonging and engagement. And like I said, sometimes you need to be with the people that you all have that same affinity and that same cultural background, diversity background, interest background that brings you together.
Yeah. Okay. So aside from your day job and your yay job, you're also a speaker.
Yes.
And so how has that journey been?
So I have always loved words, whether I'm reading them, whether I'm talking them, whether I'm writing them, hearing them. I love words. My dad jokes that I was born speaking paragraphs and I just grew up continuing to talk more and more and more. Now my partner and I, we joke that we met each other and he called and we just never stopped talking.
I love that.
So be careful who you meet in bars. You never know that they might not stop talking to you. So with that, when I came to Intuit, I had an opportunity to work with Misty because at the time, my group and professional services, we were creating a great deal of webinar and video content for our tax professionals. And Misty had just left Intuit and was starting this business. And at the time, our partner in this professional education space brought her in to help train up people who might have amazing content knowledge, but not necessarily the confidence to get up and speak. And he looked at me and he said, Adrienne, you present in meetings and you lead this team. You should go through this program. And it unlocked something in me. And of course, this is right at the start of the pandemic. So I started with a webinar that became one of my professional development goals that I gave myself. And from there, it just didn't stop. And of course, you are also in a way in this particular group, in a women's group, you're in a women's ERG outside of work. And Misty is incredible, but then I got to meet you in one of her meetings, this amazing group of women that you've been talking to. Except for one, I wouldn't have met any of them without this group. And so it's something that for me, I know how hearing different speakers tell their story, reading their books has impacted me. And my hope is I can do the same for just one person every time in my audience. Can I give them confidence? Can I help them look at something in a different way? Can I spark a moment of curiosity that takes them on a journey? And I have been able to do that. I've seen those moments, and I don't have a long speaking record yet. But I truly believe that my journey is just beginning, and it's something that I'm looking forward to continuing to build out.
Oh, I love hearing that. I wanted to touch on a couple of things because I too am a lover of words. I've always just been, I've loved to read since I was little. My dad would joke that I tell this story. I'm sure I've told it on the podcast before that my dad said I was reading at 3. Like, I don't know how true that is.
You probably were. In fact, in my keynote, I was just rehearsing. I do talk about reading out loud with my dad. Yes. And it was before I started school. So yes, we did.
So, it's a little golden books and because, we're from a different era. But yeah, I've always had a fascination with words and what they mean and the root words. Like I find myself often, I'm such a nerd about words. I get an email daily, like the word of the day. You get this too?
I used to. Yeah, no, but I have dictionaries all over the place. The sources, and then the source.com is one of my favorites.
So I like to get the word of the day and hear how it's pronounced and all the things. So I love that we have that in common. And then you said something else that I thought was really cool about your journey to becoming a speaker. That first you set a professional goal, just to get better at speaking at meetings and to be able to host these webinars. And I think it's a powerful reminder for people listening or watching, it really does start small. And I've been talking to the other ladies in the group, and they have similar stories that it started with one idea or one thing or one talk, and then that grew legs. And so that's really cool to see that you allowed yourself to set a goal, follow it, and now you are a speaker. And like you said, you're just beginning.
Exactly. Which is so funny that we all have this similar story. And a couple of years ago, through the women's group, our book club, we read The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, Regina, when I was first given this opportunity, I thought, no, you've got the wrong person. And I was nervous. I was afraid. And I said yes anyway, because somebody saw something in me. And it took me back later when I was reading Year of Yes. How many times did I say yes? Because somebody believed in me. And that's another thing that Shonda talks about, is that you learn to say thank you. Thank you is a complete sentence. Thank you.
Full stop.
And I thought, oftentimes saying yes when somebody says to you, take this opportunity, saying yes is that thank you, because this person sees something in you and believes in you. And who are you to doubt their belief in you?
Wow, that's so powerful. Just a life lesson. You're honoring that person even though it's scary for you to do so, but having honor and thanking that person, and not wanting to let them down because they did see something in you that you may not yet see in yourself. So I love that for people listening and watching. I'm sure there are things out there that we all have, those things that we wonder, what if, or people say, oh, you should do a podcast, you should be a speaker, you should da 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 da. So I hope those listening, you're a real life example of honoring those gifts that others see in you. So you're speaking now. What is your topic, or what are you passionate about sharing with audiences?
The first is mindset. And I've done now a handful of continuing education talks on applying mindset. So more thought leadership for tax and accounting professionals, as we are looking at, especially now in this world of AI, moving more and more out of compliance work and into advisory work, because there's a big mindset shift that needs to happen, not only for the accounting professional, but also for their clients, for their customers, the businesses and the individuals that they serve. Because as you change your business model, your customers have to go on the journey with you, just like we did, 20 years ago, we kind of stopped shopping brick and mortar as much, and we all started shopping online.
Yeah.
It's that change management. So there is that mindset piece for me. The most recent that I did on mindset was actually on a model called be, do, have. So instead of saying I have to have the things to do the things to become the person I want to be, it says, no, what are those inherent qualities? And I can start being that now and doing the motions, and eventually I will have what I need.
Ooh.
And it's powerful. It's a powerful mindset shift. And that's a really quick synopsis. You can go look it up and do some more research out there. And that was such a powerful talk, because I had people coming up to me afterwards and sharing with me how it was making them like rethink, well, I know I want to go into my second chapter, my encore of my career, or I'm looking at growing my career, or I've got this project that I'm working on at home. So there were different ways that I was able to connect with the audience. And like I said, having that moment of confidence, which then gave me the moment of confidence that when Misty asked me to join this level of program, I said yes.
Yes. Because again, she saw something.
I was scared. I said yes. And the talk that I'm working on right now that I'm building out is called The Second Chapter. Your purpose is not retired. And it is about the planning of the second part of our professional careers. And, retirement isn't what it used to be. It's not Leave It to Beaver anymore. It's not even episodes of Friends or Roseanne. I mean, we're in a brand new world, and people are leaving their corporate jobs and going into those dreams that we've had since we were kids.
Yes.
And I talk about this because I was always told, because my mom was a school teacher, she did not want me to become a teacher. And I'm starting my second chapter. So yes, I'm still working at Intuit. I'm still with the women's group, but I'm becoming certified in Pilates instruction. And so I want this to be part of my second chapter, is how can I teach and bring something to people that helps them in their daily and personal and professional life? Because right now my core is engaged, my shoulders are down.
Look at that.
And we're here talking.
Yes. And you're like getting a whole core workout.
Yeah.
So another thing we have in common, not specifically Pilates, but I, as part of my second act of my life, I guess, also career, I'm studying to be a yoga teacher. So I'm in my certification program as we speak. And so cool that you are living what you're talking about and giving people permission to follow their dreams.
Because it's scary, right? And you left corporate America.
Oh gosh, yes.
To start this amazing second act. And now you're coming even more forward with the podcast, with the yoga instruction.
Yes.
And I think it's so important to live those dreams, right? That we had to stop. I had a client when I first started in my career. I worked at Bank of America, and I had a client who was an avid writer growing up. Well, you don't make a lot of money writing fiction books. And so he went to law school, was an amazing attorney. Well, he found a way to honor his passion for writing and started writing the history of baseball.
So cool.
And now, like, I've heard him on interviews on different radio stations talking about his books.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, he was told you can't be a writer, but he found a way because his purpose wasn't retired.
Yes.
And I think it's so important that we do these things. And I love this. And so the next retreat, I think we should have like a yoga Pilates class, and we teach
team
together.
up. Yes.
And we're going to go pitch this to Misty.
I know,
We
like,
think our
so-
public speaking skills.
Exactly. Like, it's done. Consider it done. That's so cool. And purpose is not retired. What a perfect name. It just helps people to know that their purpose does live on beyond whatever they thought they were going to be. You're tapping into a trend. And I was talking to one of the other ladies about this as well, this trend, and you spoke to it about people following their dreams, because we are tired. I think we've seen what it looks like. We've come to the edge of a world where people are burnt out, tired, mean, cranky, divided, all of that. And I truly feel has to do with people not living their dreams, not living their purpose, not living their passion. And so I love that you're being a catalyst for people to whatever they thought they wanted to do as a kid. Like, you wanting to be a teacher doesn't mean you have to go and be a school teacher like your mom, but you are still teaching through your talking and now through the Pilates.
Yes. Well, and you know what? That's such a great thought. I hadn't even thought about that. It is true with the public speaking. We are teaching, and teaching doesn't have to be from a textbook or a manual or learning at work. Sometimes it really is those things that we do to fill up our well. And that's actually my other passion area is taking care of ourselves as humans.
Yeah.
We forget to fill our wells. Female, male, non-gender, non-binary, I don't care age, race, faith system. We are so busy taking care of other people. We forget to take care of ourselves. And we do. We run on fumes, and we have to stop and give ourselves that self-care. And sometimes the self-care is the tough love. Sometimes it is, Regina coming to me and saying, hey girl, you need to slow down. Like, you are driving too fast because you are running late. And I didn't like being in the car with you.
Exactly.
That is taking that self-care, right? You're caring for yourself, you're caring for me, but then it's also, yes, it is. It's the yoga class. It's the Pilates class, which is so good for us. But here's the other thing. And you know this, we also need coaches.
Yes, we do.
We need coaches, and we forget that we need to give ourselves that professional coaching, that financial coaching, all of the different things. So go to the webinar, go to the networking event,
Yes.
meet new people. Because if I hadn't attended that Zoom that day with Misty, we recognized each other right away.
Yeah.
So, and then we were figuring out who else do we know in common. So those are the moments, right? And I took time off work because I invested in myself to be here. And I am so glad because I am going to go back to work so recharged. I felt my battery recharged this entire time in this capstone event for this program.
Just an amazing example for people. The metaphor of the well, we tend to say fill your cup, but well to me is a better metaphor because a well is so much deeper. I just think that it's more evocative than saying fill your cup. So I love the analogy of fill your well and investing in yourself. Like we don't do that enough. And I think especially folks who are caretakers do not take the time to invest either the resources, the actual time, or the energy in pouring into themselves. And so I'm glad that you have discovered that, you're living that, and you're teaching other people that. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, because as a people leader, I have 12 people I pour into every day.
So you have to take care of yourself first.
You do. And that's important to remember too, right? When people report into you, and sometimes the higher you go, the fewer people directly report into you. But it's a larger
you have a larger remit. Yeah,
and
for sure.
They have coaches and people who pour into them.
Yes. Yeah, that point definitely, I don't want to be lost on the audience, but the having someone to coach and guide and even just be a cheerleader because we can't do it alone. So groups like this, joining the group, I know like post pandemic, sometimes people are hesitant to go out the house and do the extra step.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to put pants on. Like, I get it. But exactly. But it's so rewarding. And to your point, you now get to go back into your day, into your daily life, recharge from just spending this time focusing on yourself and soaking up the energy and the support and the love of all these humans that poured into you over this time. Wow, so much goodness there. If there was one more thing that you want to leave this audience, or as you share your message, what's the thing that you want to leave as a lasting imprint for the audiences you talk to?
I really go back to, I want to know that I have given somebody the confidence to be courageous and the courage to be confident. Because they go together, but they can be apart. And one of my favorite moments was I had given a talk at the National Association of Enrolled Agents in AEA, and it was about this phenomenon of moving to advisory. And one of the audience members came up to me afterwards at our booth, and we were chatting, and he told me he had been contemplating it. And I said, well, hey, find me on LinkedIn, let me know. And he found me on LinkedIn, we linked in, and then I saw him the next year, and he told me that he was growing his advisory firm, and it was because of what I had shared. And I was so humbled. And I don't tell that story often because I feel like I'm bragging on myself. And I thought, no, you know what? This again is why it is so important to invest in ourselves. He took time away from his business to go to this conference, and he didn't get distracted by work. He attended the sessions that were topics important to him, and it moved him. He actioned on it. He was confident. He had courage, and he had courage to be confident. And that story, it stuck with me. And that's when I realized this isn't just delivering information if people are checked out. And maybe 99% of the people are, but if I can impact that 1%,
that's it.
To follow that, because we're all seeking something, right?
It's deep inside, we are all seekers. Yeah.
And it was so powerful to me. And that's when I realized I cannot just sit on this. I have something to give back to the world, because it does fill my well, but I want to help fill other people's wells.
Look at that. I think that's the way forward. Us filling our wells and filling other people's wells from that. I love it. Well, I'm certainly inspired by your story, your journey, just you and the delightful human that you are. And I'm grateful that you came to share with me and the audience.
Thank you, Regina. I'm so blessed and happy that you asked me to be on the podcast.
Absolutely.
And it was such a compliment, and thank you so much. And I've been following you on Instagram for a while, and I can't wait to keep seeing all of your adventures and cheering you on.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing.
So great.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.